Hello, Mr. Gabriel, and hello, everyone. So, a little bit check before we start. So, sir, can you hear me clearly?
Yes. Hello, everyone.
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly. Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah. Okay, so I think we are good to go now. Yeah, so let's start. So, hello, Polkadot community, and welcome back to Ask the Team MMA series. And I'm Anna from Polkadot Insider, and today we have another fantastic project on the space, which is InvArch, a multi-chain DAO infrastructure. And InvArch is a layer 1 network for launching decentralized communities, borderless businesses, and unstoppable organizations on Polkadot. InvArch is both an application-specific blockchain and a service parachain that empowers the Polkadot ecosystem. And the network features a dynamic multisig solution named Saturn that services the entire Polkadot ecosystem. And this multisig is a foundation for DAOs on the network and features customizable rules and permissions, richless multi-chain asset management, off-chain signing, and fluid user onboard and offboard. And InvArch also features DAO staking for organizations, Ethereum compatibility, integration support for solutions provided by other Polkadot parachains, as well as a slew of native features such as automated income flows for treasuries, split royalties, contribution tracking, and more. Yeah, and in case you don't know, Polkadot Insider is the channel updating news, data analytics, real-time data, and project research to support retail investors' views when they invest in the Polkadot and kusama ecosystem. So, going through the AMA session today, we are so honored to have a detailed conversation with Mr. Gabriel from InvArch, who's going to share with us about the future of DAOs and what is the uniqueness of InvArch, what are we supposed to know about InvArch. So many attractive information that we have to know. So stay tuned, everyone. And because this is a special episode, so we're gonna have a Q&A section after all. So from now on, if you have any questions for InvArch, so you're supposed to leave it on the comment. And I'm gonna choose like 2 to 3 questions after all, and I'm gonna ask them, and we're gonna have the Q&A section at last. Yeah, so okay, so let's get back to our AMA, our main topic today. Okay, so to kick off the atmosphere, sir, can you tell us more about yourself and also InvArch in summary? What is the story behind it, and what is the inspiration for your team to start InvArch?
All right, awesome. Hello, everyone. I'm Gabe. I am the CTO of InvArch, and so my background is rather short. I started as a developer, as a front end developer. I did that for a bit, and then I started learning Rust, which is how I got into Polkadot itself. I started in Polkadot as a lead developer of Pokedex, and then around 2 years ago, Dakota started going around looking for co-founders for this cool project that he came up with. The initial goal for InvArch was very focused on intellectual property and making it easier to share the intellectual property, to commercialize it, and to license it on the blockchain. But after we started, we quickly realized that we need the infrastructure to make that work. And that infrastructure happened to be DAOs. So we started focusing on building DAO infrastructure and then multisig infrastructure, because we also realized multisigs and DAOs, they share the same basis. So all we're doing now is we're focusing the narrative on DAOs and multisigs, and then the plans are to, and in the future, we start working on using this infrastructure for intellectual property and then expanding from there.
Wow, it is so interesting to get to know more about your journey with InvArch and also a general picture of InvArch and what is InvArch is focusing on, which is DAOs. Yeah, and we kind of down to hear more about it. Yeah. So I have read about Saturn Multisig and being very impressed with this concept, but I believe that this term is kind of strange to some of the audience out there. So can you explain more about this? And also, what is the future of Saturn adoption that you expect?
So Saturn is the general name we give to our multisig infrastructure, and it's really interesting. So it has various components. For example, we have the JavaScript SDK, which is what allows developers to easily integrate. We have the actual multisig infrastructure on chain, which we call internally we call the multisig cores. But that is the base for a multisig, which is also the base for a DAO. And then we have what we internally call the rings infrastructure, which is what allows those multisigs to do cross-chain messaging. And then with all those components properly in place, it allows you to deploy a multisig on our chain without writing smart contracts or anything. You need to only deploy it in our chain, and then using the power of XCM through the rings infrastructure, that multisig can operate in all the other Polkadot connected networks. More specifically, the networks that open channels with us and integrate the XCM configurations, which we're working on to integrate with other teams. It's currently in the process of testing in Rococo, and it's soon to be shipped to Kusama. But basically, that's the main point of Saturn. You deploy a multisig in our chain, and then that multisig operates in all of the connected parachains, maintaining the same exact account. The user experience is as if you were using a single blockchain, while you might actually be using like 10 different blockchains in one single transaction, even. And so that is the main idea of the Saturn multisigs, the main differentiator. But they are also more than other multisigs in a sense. For example, they are extremely flexible by default. You can add and remove members at any time, because the voting system is not like a general multisig. We combine the best aspects of DAOs, multisigs, and governance systems in general into this one primitive. So, for example, the voting happens with fungibles. Those fungibles do not need to represent currency or anything. They just represent how much voting power you have. If you want to have a basic multisig, you can just give everyone 1 unit of the fungible token. But if you want to have a more complex system, you can give different accounts different amounts of the token, which then gives them different voting power. And then you can also add and remove members by proposing to burn or to mint tokens. So the whole process is flexible. It happens through the multisig, so it's still trustless. So to do any of these things, you have to propose a vote, and the multisig has to be the one to enact the changes. But yeah, we just wanted to expand on multisigs and make the perfect system, the perfect infrastructure, so that we decided to go and check every single multi-party ownership system out there, and we took the best parts of all of them, combined into this one ultimate multisig primitive.
Wow, that's how great the concept is indeed. Yeah, it means a lot to the user's experience and like other aspects of the user's journey. Yeah, I think it is a good news. Yeah, thank you, sir, for that. So, well, researching about InvArch, we can find so many interesting features like OCIF staking, OCIF farming, OCIF donations, and optimized DAO staking. So all of them, like, we really want to dig deeper, and I think it's very helpful for us to know more about. So, sir, can you share more about each of them for us?
Yes. So start off, OCIF stands for On-Chain Innovation Funding, and the whole concept, the whole OCIF system is in place to fund projects and to give projects, completely decentralized projects, a way to get funded without centralizing ownership over themselves. So if you were to do to start a project right now, start a DAO, and you were to do something that required funding, you couldn't really maintain yourself as a DAO, because you would have to either already have a lot of money in place, or you would have to go to a VC and then give them a big allocation, which would re-centralize that DAO. So it wouldn't really work out as a decentralized organization. So we put in place OCIF staking. That's the first step of the whole OCIF system. And OCIF staking is it's very similar to a stars concept of dApp staking, except instead of being dApps, they're the DAOs themselves, and it's a completely trustless system. Anyone can make a DAO and then register the DAO into staking, and then what happens is we have 10% network inflation in the internet, and from that 6% goes 6% goes to the DAOs themselves, and the other 4% go to the stakers. So the stakers always receive the same APY regardless of which DAO they stick towards, and then the DAOs receive an APY based on how much they have in stake towards them. So that way it incentivizes people to just choose carefully, because regardless of which DAO they choose, they will gain the same amount. They will make the same amount of rewards. So it incentivizes people to actually stop for a second and decide what do they want to support instead of what gives them more money. And then for the DAOs, they need to receive more than a certain threshold of staking before they can actually start receiving rewards. So currently that threshold is 25,000 Tinker, and as the system grows, we will be going through that and revising those thresholds, because the objective is to have a system that's both trustless and at the same time deters people from joining in and staking and registering fake organizations just to start getting money. So we made the whole system with the idea that you as a staker, you have the ability to choose properly without that choice affecting your rewards. And also the DAOs need enough community support to start getting rewards. But that's just staking. Farming is another layer on top of staking. It's still something we're working on. And the whole concept for OCIF farming is that you do stake, but instead of receiving rewards as a staker, you redirect those rewards back into the DAO. So the DAO would then receive the full 10% inflation. Well, not the full 10% inflation, because not everyone will be redirecting the rewards towards the DAO, but they receive your stake plus their stake, the rewards of both. And then in return, the DAO can then give those that are farming either NFTs, their voting token, or some other token that they create. The whole idea is to give people a trustless system that they can use to issue their own rewards based on receiving staking rewards. So there's a lot we need to build on top of that. We have been discussing some some very innovative systems that can be built using OCIF staking plus OCIF farming for the network itself. But those are still in the conceptual phase. But then following that with OCIF donations, that is as simple as it sounds. It's just a way to have like categorized not-for-profit organizations in the system, and then allowing users to donate towards those organizations. And that whole idea is mostly for a couple reasons. Imagine you want to do donations in a decentralized manner. You would have to pay a lot of taxes on those crypto coins, because that's very hard to control legally. So with donations, what you can do is you could donate to these organizations, and on the back you would be donating to the InvArch Foundation. And then by donating towards that, you can actually take those donations and cut them off from your as tax deduction. That would allow you to get less taxes than if you were to just not get rewards at all. But that is the basics of OCIF. Right now we have staking live on Tinkernet. You can actually check it at tinker.network/staking. And we have currently four cores, 4 DAOs registered. From those, they are Chaos DAO, WAG Media, Udo DAO, and the InvArch Ambassador Embassy, which we just registered recently. The embassy will be the future of the ambassador program on InvArch and Tinkernet, where the whole program will be run as a DAO, completely trustless and decentralized, running in the network and receiving rewards from the OCIF system.
Oh my God, believe me, sir, this is something that we want to hear the most from InvArch, and especially in this AMA, and that is so fantastic and helpful. Yeah, we know that DAO is a very good option in terms of security, in terms of trustlessness, in terms of infrastructure and other things, and all the concepts is so great, and I think it's a good news for all of us. Yeah. So well, we know that DAO is something that InvArch is focusing most on. So to your point of view, what do you see about the future of DAO in general, and specifically with InvArch in the near future? How do you see it going to grow or going to change? Yeah, in some way.
So actually, we have a very different vision for DAOs, and I do think there's a lot of people out there who share this vision. But in general, you would mostly see the concept of DAOs described as a completely I don't know what the correct political term would be for it, but imagine it's a whole system where everyone has the exact same power within the organization, and it's a completely base level organization. Everyone has the same amount of voting power. Everyone can do the same things, but we don't believe that is what defines a DAO. Yes, that is one of the ways to have a DAO, but we see it as a raw structure that you can use to build basically any kind of autonomous organization running in a decentralized system. That could be anything like Nouns DAO, but it could also be something like an actual company that has a CEO, and then has the marketing department, and has the engineering department. It doesn't necessarily have to be everyone has the same amount of votes concept. It can be more akin to an actual company. And that is what we actually think the future of DAOs is. It's mostly going to be, yes, those completely distributed voting systems, but it's also going to integrate a lot of actual companies that want to move from Web 2 to Web 3 and that want to have their whole businesses operating more efficiently, because the ability to automate and to have your company running on the blockchain lets you do some very unique things that you couldn't do elsewhere. Namely, you can have all of your business running through this system that allows you to build on top, and you can write contracts that allow you to basically program how your business works, right? And we do think that this is the future for both communities and businesses. So we've been focusing a lot on actually expanding DAOs and making them a lot more flexible. But we don't want to have a forced system where if you want to build a DAO, you have to build it with this specific model. We want to have it so you can basically build your DAO however you want, even if you want your DAO for some reason to be you alone as a member. Like it's up to you.
Yeah, we get it that DAO is great for many reasons. Yeah, and we can definitely have a lot of spaces to do with it, and we can definitely expect a lot of good news, a lot of revolutionary changes from it in the near future. Yeah. So get back with InvArch. We kind of curious about InvArch next steps. So, sir, can you reveal just a little bit with us about what is the plan of you for InvArch to grow in the rest of 2023 or even further?
So, as I talked about Saturn, I did mention the ability to do XCM transactions in other XCM connected chains, but we are also in the process in the research, still in the research phase for this. We have two systems that we want to implement for what we call off-chain signing. And off-chain signing is the ability for those multisigs to also sign transactions for other ecosystem blockchains without bridges or anything. We have two main ways we want to implement that. One is the short-term solution that we can actually do right now, and we are working on. And then the other solution, the other idea is a more longer term that will both make it a lot more secure and also will also boost their tokenomics a bit. But I'll focus more on explaining what off-chain signing entails. With off-chain signing, what you would be able to do, your multisigs would be able to sign transactions in anything from Bitcoin to Ethereum, Dogecoin, etc. And it's not as efficient as using XCM as a communication layer, but it does allow you to natively own a Bitcoin in the Bitcoin network, natively call contracts in the Ethereum network, in the L2s, etc., while also maintaining your multisig account in the Polkadot ecosystem. And it's all of that is done without bridges, because you don't need to necessarily relay those messages off chain. You just need to sign transactions. And so the shorter term system we're working on is in partnership with Phala Network, which is the idea is to use Phala back contracts as the layer that allows those signatures to happen. So you would use a back contract. Your multisig would make a function call in our chain, and then that function would then trigger a smart contract in Phala, which would then sign a transaction that gave it. That could be either a Bitcoin transaction, Ethereum, etc. But the longer term solution is to have what we call threshold signature in our network. Threshold signature is when multiple entities come together to create one singular signature out of multiple signatures, and by using that, we can actually give a second purpose to our collator nodes, which would be to participate in this threshold signature system, and that would not only be a more secure solution, but it would also boost tokenomics, as it would give another good reason to run a collator, and it would increase the purpose of using the tokens.
Oh, there are many good things, good news coming up with InvArch that really worth expecting, like the Saturn, the off-chain signing. Yeah, and best of luck on your next journey, and we'll definitely follow up. Yeah. So I think the last question is kind of relaxing. Yeah, so if you have to say 3 words or 3 sentences, if it's easier for you to express your pride in InvArch, so what would they be, sir?
I do have 3 words. So the first one is community, which I believe is the most important thing for a blockchain project, for a Web3 project. We are building systems for the decentralized public, for the people. So the most important thing is the people themselves, the community. That is number one, most important thing in the project, and it should be the number one thing for every other for any other ecosystem project or for any other Web3 project, period. The number 2 word for me is the tech. I'm biased towards it. I'm the CTO, but I believe we have really good technology. We have built on top of already amazing technology with it, which is the Polkadot and Substrate code. But I do believe we have one of the best blockchain backends in I would say in the whole ecosystem. So the third word for me, well, I don't have that one. Let me think about it in a minute. Well, I could say the third word is passion. Passion is really important. You cannot succeed if you don't care about what you're doing. And we do, I can speak for me and for Dakota in this. We both really, really love what we're doing. And we want to see this through. We want to be able to deliver this. And we want to help people get their organization set up. We want to help the ecosystem flourish. And we want to help the communities flourish.
Yeah, and that's great 3 words, sir. Yeah, I think it's sorry if it's not so relaxing as you expect, but that 3 words is just so tell us what InvArch is trying to build, to develop, and to serve, and that means a lot. Yeah, we can all see that so obviously. So yeah, I think it's all about the questions today. We went through a lot about InvArch, what is InvArch is doing, and also what are some upcoming interesting things happening with InvArch. Yeah. So I think we are moving on to the Q&A section. So from now on, I'm gonna check the comment. I'm gonna choose out 2 to 3 questions. But if any of you guys, the audience, want to turn on the mic and directly speak to the speaker, so please let me see your hand. And while waiting for that, I'm gonna check some questions in the comment box. Yeah, please give me a minute, sir. Okay, so I got a very interesting question right here. Yeah. So are you ready, sir? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So as you share that community is one of your guys' most considerations. So do you have any plans to grow your community? And will you intend to attract the communities from other blockchains?
Yeah, so that ties a lot with the plans for off-chain signing, because so the main idea, the main inspiration for doing that, for allowing our multisigs to transact in other ecosystem chains, is so that DAOs from all over Web3 can come into InvArch, can grow and use more advanced technology, and also cheaper at the same time compared to networks like Ethereum, but still maintain their communities in those original ecosystems. Let's say there's a DAO running in Ethereum. We will be able to support that DAO and allow that DAO to run in our network. But at the same time, that DAO can still exist just as it was on Ethereum without losing its connection to contracts and anything. So that way, the idea to grow the community there is to hit all these other ecosystems, and allow them to migrate their governance systems, their DAOs, to our network, and then expand our community by merging and adding up these other communities.
Yeah, thank you, sir, a lot. I think it's definitely satisfy our audience. Yeah, that's very great. Okay, so let's see whether we have any more. Oh, so I think this one we have shared during the AMA, but maybe they have got it so clear, so they want to ask again about the DAO staking. So what are the core benefits of this feature? So can you share with us once again about it? About the core?
Yeah. So DAO staking, for the stakers, in the first place, for the stakers, the main benefit is just to be able to get a bit ahead of inflation, and to get the same benefits of staking in other networks, except you don't have to necessarily choose a specific DAO to stake towards. You just have to make sure you are staking. So that also gives you the ability to decide properly instead of just jumping into whatever gives you the most rewards. But for the DAOs, the benefit there is that they can get funding from network inflation, and by being voted by the community as the DAO that they think deserve that funding. So for the DAO, it's a big thing. It's the ability to grow and to expand, to get initial funding, seed funding, to start operations without having to rely on a centralized entity, without having to ask for VCs.
Yeah, thank you a lot for your sharing. I think it's definitely very helpful for our listeners. Yeah. So we just got 2 questions so far. So I think that because the sharing is deep enough, yeah, so maybe you guys haven't had raised any questions more about the talk. So maybe we're gonna end the Q&A section right here. Yeah. So, sir, before we say goodbye, do you have any words left for our listeners today?
So I also want to remind everyone that we're currently running our Polkadot crowd loan, which is going really, really, really well. But if you haven't contributed yet, I do suggest you at least check it out. The rewards are well, I have a bias, of course, but I will say that I believe the rewards are pretty good for a Polkadot parachain right now, going for crowd loan right now. And yeah, I do suggest you check it out. Just go to parachains.info/auctions And then there we are. Our problem's running. And yeah, that's it.
Oh, I think it's like we say, save the last for, the best for last. I don't know what, just forget it, but it's another great information for all of us. Yeah, and so thank you a lot, sir. Yeah, and so thank you for joining us today. We just have so many great sharings of information. We just so appreciate that. And also thank you, InvArch, for giving us a chance to be your bridge to the community today. And also thank you all listeners who have joined us today. We hope that just had a very relaxing time and helpful time with us. Yeah. And so if you have any more questions, just DM Polkadot Insider, and we're gonna have it connected to the speaker, and we're gonna get the answers back to you. Yeah. So we also have a recap video that's gonna be posted very soon on our Twitter page, so that you're not gonna miss any important information about this AMA. Yeah. So I think it's time for us to say goodbye. Say goodbye, everyone, and have a nice day. See you guys very soon.
Bye bye, everyone.